or indifference is to be a zero in God's eyes, no matter what you are in the eyes of the world. Thirdly, languages without love is nothing. Prophecy without love is nothing. Now back to 1 Corinthians 13. Knowledge without love is nothing. And this is a accumulating thing. He started out with speech that was connected with languages. Then he got more into it with prophecy. And now he goes even further and assumes all knowledge. If I understand all mysteries and all knowledge and don't have love, I'm nothing. What does it mean to understand all mysteries? What is a mystery? A mystery is, that term incidentally, and I'll just stop a moment to help you with it, that term is used 30 plus times in the Scripture. Now listen, it is never, ever used casually. It is always used technically. And its use technically is, a mystery is a divine truth revealed in the New Testament, basically. Revealed in the New Testament. Something hidden in the past and now revealed. And you can go through the New Testament and find all the mysteries. The mystery of godliness, God in human flesh. The mystery of Christ in us. The mystery of Jew and Gentile, one new man, Ephesians 3. The mystery of iniquity, which already works. There are many things that are called mystery. It doesn't mean something that's now hidden. It means something that was hidden and now is revealed. And we're the ones who know those sacred secrets of God. They're called in Matthew 13:11 the mysteries of God's kingdom, which have been hidden from the wise and prudent and revealed to whom? To babes, to us. And there are many verses that deal with that. But a mystery is God's sacred secret, and they are related to His redemptive plan and His ultimate plan for history. God has certain redemptive truths which He has revealed to us. Now, there are others that He hasn't revealed. But let's assume that you knew every single secret in God's mind. All mysteries, all redemptive truth, that you could not only know every redemptive fact, but you could perfectly correlate every redemptive truth. That if you knew every single fact about God's ultimate purpose for time and eternity, and you could correlate every fact, if you had all that, and additionally, if you had all knowledge, and the word gnosis means all facts that can be ascertained by investigation. Not only did you know every secret relative to redemption and God's plan for the ages, but you knew every single fact in existence in the universe. How many grains of sand there are on Mars? Every fact. Every single fact in the universe. Every mystery in the mind of God connected with redemption and the history of God's rule over man. If you knew every bit of that and didn't have love, you'd be what? Oh, you'd say you've got to at least be a 2 or 3. No, you're a 0. You're not even a 1. Why? Because love is important. Boy, that boggles my mind. The superlatives here are fantastic. And of course, you can't know all that. That's why he uses on with the subjunctive. It's hypothetical. But even if you did, you'd be a 0. And it always amazes me that there are some people who think that because they know everything, they have no right responsibility to love anybody. And there are people who've got all the doctrine systematized and all the doctrine categorized, and they've got all the answers, and they don't love anybody. And you know what they are in God's eyes? They're what? They're 0. They're big zeros. It doesn't mean anything. Love is superior to intellectual eminence. I'm sure glad for that. Did you ever hear of anybody that got a PhD for love? We call people doctor for their intellectual eminence. I don't know. See, our value system isn't all it ought to be, is it? Spiritual insight into the Scriptures, intellectual achievement without love is nothing but spiritual snobbery. That's all. It's Phariseeism, and it's condescension. You see, knowledge without love kills. It's like the letter without the spirit. Knowledge without love is ugly. Knowledge with love is beautiful. Knowledge without love is impotent. Knowledge with love is powerful. In 1 Corinthians 8:1, Paul already hinted at this when he said to the Corinthians, listen, knowledge builds pride. He put it this way, knowledge puffs up, love builds up. Knowledge puffs up, love builds up. If you have a choice between learning to love and learning some facts, learn to love. The Bible emphasizes this again and again. Oh, it's important to know things. You can't depreciate knowledge. Not at all. God doesn't want a whole bunch of loving ignoramuses. They'll love themselves right into all kinds of error. They sure will. They'll go around loving so much that they won't make any discrimination between who's right and who's wrong, who's saved and who's not, and they'll mess up everything. Got to have knowledge. That's why the Bible talks about love with knowledge. Philippians 1:9. And this I pray, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge. Do you see? You can't separate those two. You have to keep them in a perfect balance. You have a choice between coming to a class or coming to a service to learn something and on your way helping somebody who just had a flat tire stop and fix a flat tire. Fourth, he says, not only languages, prophecy, mysteries, and knowledge, connecting those as one, but he says, though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not love, I'm nothing. Now, the concept of faith can take many, many directions. And I want to hastily show you what he's saying here. He is emphasizing the gift of faith. And the gift of faith is not saving faith. It's the kind of faith that is expressed in prayer that releases God's power. See? It's that. It's Matthew 17:20. Don't look it up. I'll read it to you real quick here. There's a couple of them, but Matthew 17:20 comes to mind. Jesus said, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you can say to the mountain, move from here to there, and it'll move, and nothing will be impossible unto you. All right? Jesus said, you need to have the faith to believe God in prayer, and you can move mountains. Now, a lot of people get mixed up at that verse because they say, oh, I've never seen anyone do that. Well, that isn't the point. God doesn't want people going around just moving mountains. That would make all kinds of problems. You can't just do that. That isn't the point. That is not a literal thing. You know, the other one in Matthew 21 says, you could say to this mountain, the Mount of Olives, be removed into the sea. Well, Jesus doesn't want somebody to dump the Mount of Olives 4,000 feet down into the Dead Sea. That would mess up the second coming. That isn't the point. The point is that there are some people who have the gift of faith, and the gift of faith is the ability to believe God continually without giving up when the rest of us have bailed out and said, oh, God, you must have missed the boat on this deal. What's happening, God? Oh, I begin to question. And somebody else is a rock and saying, God is still on the throne. I'm just waiting till God releases his power, and I'm praying and asking him to do it. You see, it's that person who just goes like a rock through every trial while the rest of us are flying apart. That's the gift of faith. And that person is waiting and waiting in confidence until God's power is released, and we begin to see why he did what he did. Those are the kind of people who pray and pray and pray. It's a kind of trust in God which never gives up. It is an uninterrupted trust, maintaining vital contact